I heard you hollering down the line.
I just started my class.
Okay.
I was asking if this is going to be a recurring meeting.
I don't know.
It's just so we keep it under.
Right.
Okay. So here's my website. Everybody see the screen with everything on there? We'll get started now. So this is the advanced MLS class that goes over some different ways of doing property searches, as well as doing a CMA and sharing everything to your clients. So let's get started. So we do have several different ways to do searches on our MLS through this portal here, this tab. It's broken down. Most of them are broken down to quick and detailed. And this is so you could actually save searches that you use a lot. So when I was in the business, which is the only thing I can kind of refer to, I had a quick search, which is this one right here. And I had a detailed search. The detailed search had a little bit more information on it. I use quick search to do searches for clients to go out and look at properties, things like that really quickly. I use a detailed search not only to do CMAs, but also to prep for listing agreements and things like that. So the detailed search got used a lot, not only to do purchases, but also to do listings. The big thing to remember with all these searches is once you get a search the way you like it, if you hit this little sprocket here, gear, whatever you want to call it, it will save this search because it'll give you two options. It'll get you to where you can save it as your default, or it'll reset to the current defaults. And I can show you that really quickly because it's pretty easy to go back and forth. So this was the default. It just has the active, the coming soon, active statuses for showings and things like that. So because I use this for CMAs and also for listing presentations, I wanted to know more about it. So I put in just about every other status that was out there. I really didn't care about closed or withdrawn unless I was doing a CMA. So I just left that one blank, but this is pretty much how I had it. You could also put this if you want. I'm not licensed Louisiana, so I didn't care about Louisiana. And that's basically how I had my search. And I came up here, hit the gear and said, this is what I want the default to be. Another thing that I had in here, if I click on the quick, was I call it below the fold, old newspaper reader, so that's why. But I had all these things as additional fields. I will tell you, I didn't really care too much about the listing office, buyer office, listing office, MLS ID. This basically, these ones from here down to here, I just added those in my current position. I never used those when I was a real estate agent because I didn't really care about who the listing office was or who the listing agent was. This was a way to get the information. So just to give you a little rundown on stuff, pool, of course, it was on there. Elementary schools, people care about where their kids go to school. So this is a way of doing the search for different schools. I really never noticed people really caring too much about the middle school. They usually cared about the elementary school and the high school. And my high school's gone. How's that? Gotta add that. So let me show you how you do that. If you click on add remove, you come over here, and this not only gives you the ability to rearrange the things, but you could also go over here, click that, click high, and it gives you the high school name, and you could add it over there. It always adds to the bottom. So then you move it up. So it's at the right spot. There you go. So that's all rearranged. And then once you hit back, it's put in the correct spot down up above there. So you got everything. All right. So you could do the same thing in the detailed search, and I'll get over there so you kind of see that. One of the things I was asked about recently was for a outback property, guest quarters, whatever you want to call it. That is not going to be in one of these searches here. You actually have to go into the add remove, and it is under structure, other structures. So now that I put that in there, if I go down here, other structures has guest house. Don't really know what a packing shed is. That's got to be something for other people. Pool house, secondary residence, secondary, what is that? Second residence. So there's all the different ways of naming stuff. So you can look for that. So that is basically the way to add and everything for that search to kind of give yourself a little extra stuff. And now if I go into the detailed search, it already gives you a lot of different things, but here's where you could, all the different things I have under this is the appliances, other equipment. So you see there's a lot more stuff in there because as you're getting all this stuff, you for your clients, you need things to narrow down a house or do a CMA for a closer environment so you get a better results. And then remember also that under your searches, you've got all the different, of course, this is residential. The residential income is for 2 or more units, or if you're looking for a lease property, it could be underneath here. Land, commercial sale, commercial lease, residential lease, cross property. If you can't remember that from the, if you don't remember that from the first class, the cross property is an everything search. It does not care about all these property subtypes or anything else like that. It is caring about the address, the area that you're searching in, things like that. So please use that accordingly. If you can't find anything else, look there. Properties sometimes get listed in several different areas, and that'll help you there also. All right, any questions on that? I've got chat open, so if you have any questions, go ahead and just type it in there and we'll take care of it that way. All right, any questions? We will go on. So the next part is how to do save searches. So save searches are pretty basic here. If I were just to look at, right now it's looking at the all of MLS, so that's why there's over 5,000. But I'll stay in the detailed here and we'll narrow it down to 76016 around the lake. So that gets it down to 183 matches. So from there, you start narrowing it down. If we look at just new things that are out there from 2000, there's only 3 properties. How's that? And one of them was canceled. One of them's closed. So that's not even a good CMA area. So let's kind of look through them and see what we got here. Built right in 2000. They really like their kitchen, so they have the kitchen, front entrance, and finally got the house. So that's the area that we're looking at. You can tell it's got some upgrades and everything else like that, and they're asking close to $200 a square foot. And it's under contract. There's this one on Buccaneer, down at the bottom of the lake. So we got this one listed. It tells all the different information on it. And then the last one is Timber Green. This one closed. It started off at $231 a square foot and it sold at 221 a square foot. So we got all that information there. So if we go back to criteria, let's change things around. Oh, that could be why. There we go. So if I put in 2000 plus, so that's everything from 2000 to 2023, you get 26. Okay. So we got all these properties here. If we do a map, we could actually map out where they're at. So it looks like they're mapped everywhere from the bottom of the lake all the way up to close to Arkansas. So you can tell that they're pretty well spread out. Several different elementary schools. Looks like they're all in the same middle school and high school, which is Martin High and Young Junior High. All right, any questions on how to do the search? All right, so now if we go down to save, we could save the search, we could set up a new auto email, or we could set a new speed bar shortcut. So let's kind of go over a little bit of these things in each way. So the save search is just something for you to be able to look at and pull up. The new auto email sends the properties off to your clients. And then the speed bar shortcut is what this is up here. And it's just making a search that you can bring up pretty quickly. So let's kind of go through each one of them here. A save search, when you bring it up, you could either have it to a name and put a contact in it. This does not send the properties. It just creates the thing so they can see it. They could even access it through the One Home portal. Once you put in the search name on this, and if you select it or you don't select it, that's your thing. But enable as a favorite search. So that's on this search here, and it goes under this property search right here, my favorite searches. So this gives you the ability to save 10 different searches. Once you hit the 10 limit, you just can't save anymore, and you have to come in here and you have to delete it and then put another one back in. So you've got different ways of doing searches. You can save them as favorite searches. You could also do it as carts. So if I go back to that search, and we got this thing still, and we can make it a speed bar shortcut. So you see the speed bar shortcut, it just gives you the diagonal, and you can put, we'll just call it lake. All right. And then you put a description in, zip code 76016, built 2000 plus. All right, and then once you save it, it's set up there. So if I were to go up here and do something else, doesn't matter where you're at, what you're looking at, and you just come up here and you hit /lake, it automatically pulls up the most current information. So what this is doing is it's saving everything into one place, so you can just go up here and quickly hit it. If you guys saw some of mine before, I actually had this for names. One of my investor guys, it was really quickly to be able to do that, to pull it up. All right, so if we go back to here to the search, and then we have new auto email. Auto email is the same way. You can create the contact, or you can pick from your list. One of the things that I always put in my list was, I told everybody during my training classes of having a junk mail. Well, I actually have myself with a junk mail. And that way I could send myself the properties to be able to look at it and see what it looks like before it gets sent out to them. And then I could always just change the contact. It's just something I did to make sure that things were set up right and I didn't get calls where people are upset. Okay, so you could actually set up, when you create a new contact, you could put in their name, or you could, so You could also put in separate email addresses. I didn't use the CC. I used the commas in here to separate my emails. CCs cannot do their own thing, but if you put in separate emails here, they'll be able to get all the different things, each of them through their emails. So if you're dealing with the husband and wife, that way each one of them will have access into the search. This text opt-in is the way that they could get SMS messages also. So make sure you got all that information. All right. One of the big things I like to say about this is when you're making these, change these things up. Make this your own so people know that they're talking to you and they're not talking to a machine and it doesn't come across. All right, so that's kind of what you need to do. Just go in there and kind of make it your own writing, not only for the welcome email, but also the recurring ones when they get that. And then another thing I was talking about is my signature actually has the IABS in it. It was the only place I really put it a lot because it's the only place where I would send things without talking to people. Most of the time when I'm talking to people, I was able to talk about the IABS and discuss it and send it to them and get it signed off. But just to be able to make sure that I'm always compliant with the rules, I put this on my email signature from Matrix because sometimes I'd get phone calls where it's, hey, send me some information on this house. And I didn't know who they were. So I wanted to make sure that they got my IABS. All right. Going down here on settings, enable concierge mode. What this does is it actually says that you as the agent has to see and approve properties before it gets sent out. So it's a good way of very fine tuning searches. If people say that, you know, they're okay with a bonus room upstairs, if they don't want to have anything else. So you include 2-story houses so you don't lose anything. And that way you could check off the ones that actually have bedrooms and bathrooms upstairs and just go for the bonus room. But it also it takes extra time. They don't get their properties as quick as possible. This may not be as big of a fact as it was last year with how fast houses were going. But if you're looking for something really desirable, I would always tell my clients, hey, you're going to get everything just because you're getting everything as quickly as you can. And that way, both of us could go in there and look at it and see what's going on and find you the best house. Okay. Reverse prospecting. What reverse prospecting does is it actually allows you to see what other agents and what other clients are looking at. So you might be able to see a property that you didn't think was important, but you can see in reverse prospecting that a lot of people were looking at the house. And then we already talked about the favorite search, so I won't go much more into that one. Then on schedule, same thing as the concierge thing. It's not as important as it was last year, but houses that are still in desirable locations that are priced right are still going very, very quickly. So I usually had it on ASAP. So they got the properties as soon as they got on the market. You could also put it down to daily, so where they get it all the time. If somebody doesn't do work on the Sabbath at all, you might not even send them something on Saturday. And then monthly emails are sent on the first of the month. With this one, I used a lot for my farming and my where I live, my neighborhood where I live. So that sent it out to everybody, and people really appreciated that because they got to see what was going on with the neighborhood. Remember, knowledge is power, and if they're always going to you for information, you got that really good as a real estate agent. All right, looking at chat, no questions. Anybody got any questions out there? Okay, we're just zooming right along here. So that's the searches, and that's how to set up auto searches. Now we're going to go into, once I get my mouse back, there we go, how to do a CMA. So like I said, I usually start off and I do a detail. So let's kind of look out here. If I look out here, look at residential hot sheet. I want to pick a property here. Let's look at this one. Okay, this property is in Briarwood Estates. So I'm going to highlight that. 918 Sherwood Drive. Anything else that's kind of burning on this one? Okay, let's look at some of the pictures here. Not a very good yard. Looks like they just redid it. It's got some updates. So they got the same flooring throughout the entire house here. Screened in porch. Left some of the building supplies. I wouldn't think anything bad about that. So it looks like they took the screened in porch and made it its own room, but it's got a separate AC out there. So it should not count towards the square footage. So it doesn't really look like that big of a deal of the house. It just looks like it's got some updates. Let's kind of do a CMA on it. So if I wanted to, I'd just come here, search detailed. And the first thing I do is see what else is available in that subdivision. Come on. Briarwood. I hate it when I can't remember street. Sherwood was in Briarwood. Let's try that again. That is weird. It's not picking up subdivision at all. Oh, sorry, I'm looking in the wrong zip code. So Briarwood is in 76013. So there's 9 properties that are part of that subdivision. So let's kind of go look at them. All right, what this one's showing you here is there's 2 of them that are brand new on the market. There's 1 that's pending, and then there's 6 that are closed. So that gives me a good CMA on it here. And if we look at it now, we just need to go through. So the square footage, so before I do anything else, this is a custom, if you look at it, report. So I made this just so because it helped out a little bit. And what I did was I went through a regular one line and I added some things. So if you guys see when I kind of hover over a gray area, it gives me the 4 arrows. That's an editable field. And what you could do is you could actually click on it. If you left click on it, you could actually insert a column. And so if you insert a column, you could pick whatever you want from all the different fields to kind of make your fields better, make it what you're looking for. I've seen some people that they've come all the way over here and they've added oh, what is that one? Photo. So that, and I did this for somebody else. So it actually gives you the, where you can put in the photo on the agent one line so you can see a little bit more about the property. And you could make all these things what you want. And then once you get it to where you like it, if you come over here and you click on this, you could actually make it a different name so you could save it. So you could always bring it up if that's what you're looking for. All right. So now if I'm looking at this property, this is the one Sherwood that I was looking at. It's 14, we'll call it 1,500, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Well, all these properties that closed are 2 bath. So it's going to affect the CMA that's on this because of course the properties are not alike. But other than that, they all look to be about the same size bedrooms. They look about the same size square footage, same lot size. And I drop in year built, they all look about the same age. So if we go ahead and just check these, I can do a quick CMA. So here's a quick CMA just based on that. And what we're looking at here is, so the average price per square foot is 160. The median, which is a completely different number from average, the median is 151. So the one that we're looking at is right about $200 per square foot, and it has a second bathroom. So that would be some of the things to look at when you're writing an offer is, and that might explain why they had a price decrease on it. Remember, it is very difficult to add a bathroom to a house. We're talking, especially a slab floor, you got to cut concrete and run lines and do all that stuff. So it is possible to do it if you got the room for it, but this is a 1,500 square feet house. So that might be a little bit difficult to squeeze another bathroom in there without actually increasing the building size itself by adding a room. So that's the nice thing about doing CMAs on this. You could find out where a price is and where you need to come in as an offer, because from what's on the property, which is $200 a square foot. Well, let's look at this, and this one looks like it's sold. So 1213 Wagoner. We look at 1213 Wagoner. This is the one that sold, ended up selling at $218 a square foot. So this is one, has 2 full bathrooms. Doesn't look like the floors are recently done, but those look like they're the original hardwood floors. Bathroom doesn't have all the cabinetry the other one does, or I'm sorry, the kitchen doesn't have all the cabinetry. It's got an old stove. So it doesn't look like it's got any of the finish out that the other one does on Sherwood, but that might be a better deal right there. $218 a square foot versus $200 a square foot in order to get you that third bathroom, or I'm sorry, the second bathroom. This is even a smaller house with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. I mean, I look at those 1,165 square foot. That's good size for a rental house. I don't know if I could live there with my wife and 2 dogs. Might be a little bit too much. But that's how you do the CMA side of it. So I'm usually getting a lot more questions, and unfortunately I'm not getting the questions here. So the next thing is what do you guys need to look at as far as either a more detailed search or a CMA? Is there anything else that you need to be able to help yourselves out with the searches? One of the things that I've been asked about was, why don't we have areas anymore? Well, if I look in the maps, you could still draw a boundary once you zoom in with the areas, but that's even going to go away. So let me zoom in here. We'll look at North Arlington now. It's about good enough. And if I lay in the areas, oh, they might have taken away the areas. They even took away the areas from the mapping. Okay. Well, the reason why they did that is the areas have not been updated since about 2000. The company that went and did that, Thomas Guide, Mapsco, whatever you want to call it, depending upon where you're at and where you're from in the country, they quit updating maps, and so we quit using them. But you can still see a little bit. You kind of hover over things of different areas, I think. Let's see here. Nope, these aren't areas. Another reason why the areas were taken out is because they said some of the areas were actually being used back in the day, and they were done by, what is that line? Anyway, they were used for different things about racial boundaries. And so they took them out because of that also. But I think it was just because with the advent of mapping that they just lost some of their appeal and people didn't need to have the books. And I still got some of the books here. This is one of the last ones I think they even printed. 2008 Mapsco. And it had all the different areas. We used to have these things just littering our floorboards and our dashboards of our cars because we needed them to be able to search areas. So we don't need those anymore. We got the handy dandy GPS. But one of the things that we required at Arlington here is that we have turn-by-turn directions. All right. So let's kind of go into a little bit more of this. See, I don't even know what some of my searches are anymore. Okay, here's some of my price decreases and increases. And it looks like it was not only for leases, but also for sales. Let's get this one. Wow. What is this? This commercial sale, it looks like it is 6 different units, 6 buildings, 1 or 2 per side. So 12 different properties being sold for 1.5 million. So there's that one. So this will show you all the different things. Remember that you could either list it, as far as I'm concerned, you could either list this property here in residential income or in commercial because it will apply to either one of them. So that's different ways of showing properties. A couple of the things with searches is you could always do the carts. Carts are just another way to save properties, especially if you have an overload of the 10 in your regular searches. The big thing here is when you get into your detailed and you get your results. Same thing, I'll just drop in 76016 really quick. And you go to save. You can save it as a new save search, or you could save it as a cart. And it's just a different way of doing searches to be able to see properties. So I knew people that used carts more exclusively than save searches, but it doesn't make any difference one way or another. Here's a Mark Hickson property. Let's go look at that. He's an investor that actually buys from the courthouse and flips them, and he does very good work. I've moved several people into Hickson houses, and they've all been very happy. He does very detailed work, very nice finish outs. He's one of the good guys, one of the good flippers that's out there. So anyway, just different things that you'll see out there. How do you know that he's a good property guy? Because you go out there and you look at it. What I used to do was, if I look at this, especially with this many properties, I would split it into a different area, and I'd go look at just what's out there in a certain area. And I did that every single week. I went and looked properties. If I didn't have anything else to do with clients right then and there, I went and looked at properties. That's how I knew that Mark Hickson is a good flipper. That's how I knew different things about different people. You talk to different agents and you go out there and look at properties. All right. It is now 10:15, which is about 45 minutes into the class. So if you guys don't have any questions, I think we'll go ahead and call it a day. I'm putting in to the chat our phone number here. And my email. If you have any questions, just give us a call. All right. And if we don't have any other questions, I will let you guys go for the day. Feel free to give me a call, send me an email. Let me know what your questions and concern is. And this will be actually going on our YouTube channel for everybody else to fall asleep on. All right. Have a great day. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.